A bridge does not just connect two points on a map, it extends beyond the limits of human capability. Across deep canyons, where powerful winds can shake massive steel structures, humans still build bridges that seem impossible to exist. These spans stretch for miles, crossing seas, valleys, and unstable terrain, where every meter is a technical challenge. Behind each structure are complex engineering solutions, from ultra-strong materials and aerodynamic design to advanced vibration and wind control systems. These are not just the largest bridges, but structures that push the limits of engineering. In this journey, we explore the most astonishing mega bridges on Earth, where every step forward proves that the impossible can be built. Yongjong Grand Bridge is an outstanding transportation megastructure in South Korea, possessing a truly impressive scale. The mega bridge stretches for 2.75 miles, with a unique two-level design to simultaneously accommodate cars and trains. To support this massive weight, the project utilizes a three-dimensional, self-anchored suspension cable system recognized as a pioneering global technique. The entire complex steel structure is firmly supported by two main pillars rising to 351 feet. Thanks to its smart design, the lower deck of the bridge acts as a weather shield, helping to ensure optimal safety for all passing vehicles. Because it connects Incheon International Airport to the mainland, this is the gateway, and the first impressive image welcoming millions of international tourists as soon as they set foot in the land of kimchi. The Golden Gate Bridge is a magnificent mega-engineering structure spanning the strait to connect the city of San Francisco and Marin County. This suspension bridge stretches over 1.7 miles, with its main span holding the world record for the longest in the world for many decades. The majestic towers soar to 746 feet above the water surface to support the massive weight of the entire structure. These towers anchor giant main cables woven from tens of thousands of small steel wires, creating an incredibly durable load-bearing network. Built to withstand extreme winds and powerful ocean currents, this architectural marvel demonstrates exceptional structural integrity. This vibrant orange structure stands as a clear testament to human ingenuity in conquering challenging geographical barriers. Few people know that the architectural masterpiece, towering across Tampa Bay in Florida, was completely redesigned from one of the worst maritime tragedies in America. The unique architecture of this mega project originated from the event where the old bridge was destroyed by a ship collision in the year 1980. To prevent repeating the accident, engineers built 36 giant concrete dolphin islands located under the water surface surrounding the bridge piers. This shield system will crush any off-course supercargo ship before they touch the main structure. Commuters will have the illusion of driving straight into the clouds because the main span is up to 190 feet above the water. Specifically, the ruins of the old bridge were not demolished, but were spectacularly reborn as the longest fishing pier in the world. The Dragon Bridge is an outstanding engineering masterpiece featuring one of the most unique suspended steel arch load-bearing structures in the world. The entire undulating dragon body hovering above the water surface is fabricated from nearly 9,920 short tons of high-strength solid steel. This superstructure extends over 2,185 feet across the picturesque river without utilizing a dense system of supporting pillars that would obstruct the view. Far exceeding ordinary traffic functions, this infrastructure also integrates a complex mechanical and compression pumping system hidden deep inside. This advanced technology allows the structure to perform rhythmic fire-breathing and water misting shows with absolute safety. As night falls, this spectacular architecture continuously changes its vibrant colors thanks to a perfectly synchronized system of 2,500 smart light emitting diodes. Qingdao Bay Bridge once held the title of the longest cross-sea bridge in the world, thanks to a spectacular total length of 25.8 miles. More than 10,000 workers had to work continuously day and night in shifts to turn this monumental idea into reality on the open ocean. The process of creating this engineering masterpiece consumed up to 496,000 tons of steel, which is equivalent to the amount of material used to assemble nearly 65 Eiffel Towers. The most groundbreaking architectural highlight of this mega structure is a massive full interchange suspended right in the middle of the ocean, helping to navigate tens of thousands of vehicles in 3 different directions. On days when the bay is covered in dense fog, driving on the bridge brings a floating sensation as if gliding through the clouds. More than just an architectural wonder, the bridge has transformed 3 lands divided by the sea into a unified block, helping the economy of the entire Qingdao region to break through powerfully. Huge Bridge is a cable-stayed structure spanning a deep canyon in southwest China and currently holds the record as the highest bridge in the world. The vertical distance from the bridge deck to the river below reaches about 1,854 feet, comparable to the height of a 200-story skyscraper in a modern city. Located in a mountainous region, the area frequently experiences dense fog that intermittently obscures and reveals the bridge depending on visibility conditions. Despite continuous exposure to strong mountain winds, its specialized cable system maintains structural stability and minimizes dangerous oscillations. The bridge also serves as a natural boundary between Yunnan and Guizhou provinces, where drivers can observe the geographical transition at the midpoint of the span. Before its construction, traveling between the 2 regions required 4 to 5 hours along winding mountain roads, whereas the journey now takes approximately 1 hour. What do you think about driving continuously for 34 miles with nothing but the vast ocean beneath your feet? That incredible record belongs to the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge, which is currently the longest sea-crossing bridge and tunnel system in the world. This massive structure consumed over 440,000 tons of steel, which is a colossal amount sufficient to build 60 Eiffel Towers. In order not to obstruct the busy waterway at the river mouth, the bridge suddenly dives into the sea and transforms into a 4.2-mile underground tunnel wedged between 2 artificial islands. Engineers also designed a unique figure-8 reversing viaduct that helps vehicles automatically switch lanes smoothly and safely right over the sea. Throughout the journey, the security camera system will continuously monitor your face, and if the driver yawns for the third time, an alarm will immediately sound off. Peak Walk by Tissot is the only suspension bridge in the world that directly connects two mountain summits, forming an elevated passage in Switzerland. From this point, visitors can view a full 360-degree panorama with more than 24 peaks above 13,123 feet, including Mont Blanc, Matterhorn, and the Eiger, Mönch, Jungfrau trio within the same field of view. Although it stands in open air at high altitude, the bridge is engineered to withstand winds of 124 miles per hour, the load of 300 people, and dozens of tons of snow. At only about 31 inches wide, each step on the metal mesh floor becomes a direct encounter with crosswinds and the deep glacial drop immediately below. This structure is not only a place to stop and observe the landscape, but also the entrance to Glacier 3000. From here, visitors can continue with dog sled rides or walk on permanent ice, even in the middle of bright summer. The fourth bridge is considered one of the largest steel bridges in the world. The massive interwoven steel framework of the structure reaches an incredibly impressive height of over 361 feet above the water. Viewed from afar, that massive shape makes the bridge look exactly like three giant steel dinosaurs wading in line across the river. Although spanning a vast space, stretching over 1.5 miles, this magnificent masterpiece is absolutely not for automobiles, but is the exclusive territory of railway lines. Every day, this mega structure must brace itself to bear the immense weight of approximately 200 trains constantly running back and forth. Inaugurated in 1890, this colossal steel mass still proudly defies the power of time and the harshest storms for well over a century. The Shenzhen-Zhongshan Link is the most massive cross-sea mega-project on the planet, holding 10 world records in construction engineering. This roughly 15-mile structure perfectly integrates 4 complex infrastructure elements, including a suspension bridge, artificial islands, an ocean tunnel, and a traffic interchange. The main Lingding-Yang Bridge sets the record for the highest space under the bridge in the world, allowing massive ships carrying 30,000 standard containers to pass underneath easily. This project also features the first underwater interchange globally, which allows vehicles to navigate directly beneath the ocean floor. The entire architecture boasts a lifespan of 120 years and a superior aerodynamic design to withstand level 17 typhoons. This offshore expressway has created a historical turning point by reducing the travel time between the two cities from 2 hours to a mere 30 minutes. The Zhangjiajie Grand Canyon Glass Bridge was the longest and highest glass-bottom pedestrian bridge in the world at the time of its opening. Its transparent floor allows visitors to look straight down at the stream and untouched vegetation 984 feet below their feet. Although it looks fragile, the deck is actually built from 99 panels of triple-layered tempered glass, strong enough to support 800 people at once and remain stable during strong earthquakes. To prove its strength, engineers once let volunteers strike the glass with sledgehammers, then drove a fully loaded Volvo SUV across those cracked panels. Even with complete safety, the transparency still creates intense psychological pressure, and staff often have to guide or drag visitors who become too frightened to continue in the middle of the bridge. Only 13 days after opening in 2016, the bridge had to close for urgent upgrades because visitor numbers rose to 10 times the expected capacity. Just imagine a colossal machine that can lift an entire massive road into mid-air to make way for passing ships. The Jacques Chaban-Delmas Bridge in France embodies this marvel by proudly standing as the largest vertical lift bridge in Europe. The central span is a steel block weighing 2,755 tons that gets hoisted up to a height of 164 feet above the water, exactly like an elevator. This entire steel block was completely cast in Italy and had to float on the ocean for 3 weeks before reaching France for assembly. Thanks to the counterweight system cleverly hidden inside the 4 pillars, the machinery requires only a very small pulling force to lift the span. The Astoria-Megala Bridge is a crucial transportation artery connecting the states of Oregon and Washington while proudly holding the title of the longest continuous truss bridge in North America. This monumental structure stretches across the mouth of the Columbia River, where it meets the Pacific Ocean with an impressive total length of about 4.1 miles. To ensure that maritime trade remains unobstructed, the main span of the bridge was designed to slope sharply upwards. The massive clearance of nearly 197 feet above the water allows gigantic cargo ships to navigate easily. The inauguration of the bridge in 1966 served as the final piece to complete the legendary Route 101, running along the west coast of the United States. Initially, the bridge collected tolls to recover construction costs, but thanks to heavy traffic, the entire debt was paid off, and the toll booth was officially removed after only 3 years. King Shui River Bridge is a magnificent suspension mega project stretching across the Guizhou Canyon, proudly holding the second highest record in the world with a height of 1,332 feet. The bridge deck is supported by 2 skyscraper towers, creating a suspended span in mid-air without the need for pillars planted into the riverbed. To build this masterpiece, engineers had to use an aerial cable system to accurately pick and drop each giant steel block. They conquered the treacherous limestone cliff terrain to finish this mega structure at lightning speed in just exactly 2 years. This artery reduces the winding mountain pass route from 100 miles down to only about 25 miles. The infrastructure breakthrough helps reduce the driving time across the valley from an arduous half-day to less than 1 hour. The Yangtze River Bridge in Wuhan is currently the longest double-deck suspension bridge in the world. This record is demonstrated by the main section stretching 5,577 feet across the water without any pillars to create space for giant cargo ships to navigate. To support that massive structure, the main cable system is woven from countless tightly braided steel wires with a total length of nearly 50,000 miles, which is enough to stretch across multiple vast continents. Thanks to its outstanding load-bearing capacity, the architecture opens up a spacious environment with 12 car lanes divided equally between 2 traffic decks. The entire megastructure stands out even more thanks to a brilliant autumn gold paint color directly voted on by the local community online. The presence of this bridge helps significantly reduce travel time and thoroughly resolves the traffic congestion that has lingered for many years. The Chesapeake Bay Bridge is a massive mega project proving the incredible power of humans to conquer nature. To cross the vast estuary, this grand traffic system consists of 2 parallel bridges stretching nearly 4.3 miles. To ensure giant ocean ships can pass the main span is suspended at a height of about 186 feet above the water. Building this megastructure required a massive amount of steel and concrete to be able to withstand fierce storms on the bay. Tens of thousands of cars cross this giant platform every day, making it the most vital traffic artery of the state of Maryland. The most amazing thing is that at the time the first span opened, it proudly held the record as the longest continuous over-water steel structure in the entire world. The Tarn River Valley bottleneck used to be a nightmare with endless traffic jams that paralyzed transportation. To solve this seemingly hopeless puzzle, the Milo Viaduct masterpiece was born and set the record as the tallest bridge in the world, reaching 1,125 feet. The massive steel deck weighs 39,683 tons, which equals the combined mass of 5 Eiffel Towers. Through the extraordinary brilliance of engineers, this slender megastructure possesses enduring strength capable of withstanding hurricanes with wind speeds of 130 miles per hour. Thanks to an advanced expansion joint system, the magnificent steel mass can automatically change its length by 3.28 feet to perfectly adapt to the weather. When crossing the bridge on mornings with thick mist, drivers will be overwhelmed by the surreal sensation of flying, suspended above the clouds. Optics Valley Suspension Railway is the first commercial suspended railway in China. This line runs about 6.5 miles from Jufengshan Mountain to Longquanshan Mountain, passing through both modern urban districts and green ecological corridors. Even though the train hangs in the air, it operates very smoothly to reduce shaking for passengers, even when it reaches a top speed of about 37 miles per hour. The floor is made of transparent glass, forcing people inside to look directly into the open space below from heights of dozens of feet, which is especially uncomfortable for those who fear heights. Although the operating mechanism is highly complex, the entire train is controlled fully automatically by artificial intelligence, and there is no driver in the cabin. If the power system or the AI experiences a rare failure, passengers will remain suspended above the ground and can only be brought down by rescue teams using specialized equipment. At a height of 625 meters, Huajiang Bridge is described as the highest bridge on Earth, where travelers must look down to see clouds. The projected drop from the deck to the water is 625 meters, equal to stacking 2 Eiffel Towers and still not reaching the bridge deck. The bridge has a main span of 4,659 feet, woven from tens of thousands of high-strength steel cables, creating a metal ribbon across the sky without any pier in the middle of the river. It crosses Huajiang Canyon with vertical limestone walls where dense fog can erase a driver's visibility within seconds. Crossing this bridge is not only travel between 2 points, but a passage through clouds on a steel structure strong enough to carry tens of thousands of trucks at once. Once in operation, travel time across the canyon will fall from 60 minutes to 60 seconds. Guangxing Highway is known as the Death Road of Guizhou because many sections force vehicles to move through suspended space between mountain rock and deep ravines. The most intense point is Beipanjiang Bridge, where drivers must control their vehicles at a height of more than 1,181 feet, equal to hanging on top of a 120-story tower. Several parts of the route have no natural ground beneath them and are fixed directly into vertical limestone cliffs by massive support columns, creating a narrow and exposed corridor. While driving across Beipanjiang Bridge, travelers can feel light vibration from mountain winds as the entire view below opens directly toward a deep abyss with no barrier in sight. Because of this road, crossing this rugged region once took many days, but now it takes only hours. The Lake Pontchartrain Causeway proudly holds the record for the longest continuous bridge over water with a length of 23.8 miles. This massive architectural structure is actually a combination of two parallel bridges built more than a decade apart. This system is firmly supported by over 9,000 reinforced concrete pillars driven deep into the lake bottom. The immense size of the project creates a land-blind spot where drivers completely lose sight of the shore for over 7.5 miles. The Highway Patrol Police frequently have to rescue panicked drivers who freeze up due to the fear of the vast surrounding water. Even so, this exclusive overwater route remains a vital artery, safely accommodating around 12 million vehicle trips every year. In China's Gansu province, there is a magnificent architectural masterpiece called the Haijiagu Glass Bridge that leaves visitors in awe from the very first sight. With a total length of 1,969 feet, the bridge proudly stands as one of the longest cable-stayed pedestrian superstructures in the world today. The most impressive feature is the dual-span structure crossing each other to form a giant X shape hanging in mid-air without any support pillars from the valley floor. Right at the central intersection, a unique UFO-shaped glass observation deck was built, giving visitors the feeling of stepping into a mystical alien space station. To ensure stability against mountain winds, engineers designed a massive web system consisting of 12 giant steel cables firmly anchored to the steep cliffs. Walking on the metal mesh floor at a height of 230 feet will surely deliver a spine-chilling thrill as you can look straight through to the deep green valley bottom below. You might think trains only run on the ground, but at the Beipan River Shuibai Railway Bridge, they float in the air at the height of a 100-story building. The height from the bridge down to the water surface below reaches 902 feet, bringing a dizzying feeling, like standing on top of a skyscraper. The main arch span of the bridge bends and stretches up to 774 feet across the canyon. This massive structure absolutely does not need any supporting pillars rising from the riverbed. The arch frame is made from hollow steel tubes then pumped with concrete inside, making the bridge extremely light but still sturdy enough to carry heavy trains. The extremely difficult construction process in the rugged terrain has helped this masterpiece win countless major engineering and architectural awards. The Ganta Bridge stands as an engineering masterpiece that breaks all architectural boundaries while spanning across the majestic Alps with an incredibly unique curved design. This mega project stretches 2,224 feet and features a roadway located 492 feet above the deep valley floor. Being situated at an elevation of 4,757 feet brings extremely harsh winter weather, which allowed engineers exactly 8 months each year for construction. In addition, the structure was built over an unstable geological area where the mountainside continuously slides about 0.2 to 0.4 inches annually. To solve this problem, they designed the main bridge pier foundation on special sliding bearings that allow it to shift up to 20 inches. Overcoming all natural obstacles, this structure has directly helped transcontinental traffic flow operate safely for many decades. Holding a world record for a century, the steel Lethbridge Viaduct spans the Oldman River Valley, creating a spectacular landscape in Alberta. With a height of about 312 feet, roughly equivalent to a 30-story building, it remains the largest steel railway structure in Canada. Its construction required more than 12,000 tons of steel, all produced in Ontario, and transported by thousands of train loads across thousands of miles to the assembly site. The project was built under strong winds and freezing winter conditions using basic tools, yet it was completed in about 2 years. The bridge eliminated a steep and dangerous detour of about 5.3 miles at the bottom of the valley and established a more efficient transportation route. Since then, it has served as a critical corridor for moving goods between eastern and western Canada, with significantly reduced cost and travel time. Emerging as a tremendous engineering masterpiece, the Great Belt Bridge proudly outlines a spectacular geographical boundary dividing the Baltic Sea and the Kattegat Strait. With a length of 5,328 feet, this is a massive transportation complex boasting one of the longest suspension bridge spans worldwide. The two towers, soaring 833 feet high, have surpassed all natural hills to become the highest point in the flat country of Denmark. Hidden 246 feet underwater is a railway tunnel stretching nearly 5 miles through complex geology to form a perfect dual transit system. To create this marvel, the construction team had to clear a large amount of unexploded World War II mines scattered across the seabed. Overcoming all difficulties, the structure has become a vital arterial link, directly connecting the Scandinavian peninsula to the rest of Europe. Akashi Kaikyo Bridge is a great architectural masterpiece that once held the record for the longest suspension bridge span on the planet. The cable system of the structure has a total length of over 186,000 miles, which is enough to wrap around the Earth 7.5 times. The sturdiness of the bridge is truly extraordinary, as the structure remained intact despite stretching an additional 3.28 feet after the earthquake in 1995. Hidden just below the highway is a highly unique hollow steel grid maintenance path. This design both helps reduce wind resistance and allows for viewing the swirling ocean's surface about 164 feet below the heels. When night falls, thousands of floodlights continuously change colors, earning this megastructure the title of the Pearl Bridge. The Atchafalaya Basin Bridge holds the record as the longest bridge on the United States Interstate Highway, with a length of almost 19 miles. This megastructure actually consists of 2 parallel bridges forming a concrete ribbon across the largest flooded forest in the United States. To ensure a solid foundation on the deep sinking swamp, engineers drove tens of thousands of concrete piles straight down into the soft mud. Its massive size turns the bridge into a vital evacuation route, helping millions of coastal people take refuge inland when super hurricanes arrive. Speed enforcement is strictly done by tracking entry and exit times. So if you cross the bridge in less than 18 minutes, you will definitely get a fine. Do you dare to stroll on a giant crescent suspended at an altitude of 2,165 feet, equivalent to a 200-story building. This is one of the longest curved pedestrian suspension structures in the world, with a length of 410 feet. The entire weight of hundreds of tons of this structure is perfectly balanced and anchored by just a single 269-foot tall pylon and 8 load-bearing cables. Due to the rugged cliff terrain, the engineers prefabricated all components and used cargo helicopters to hoist them to the mountain peak and assemble them in mid-air. The special design allows the structure to actively sway slightly in high winds, which helps dissipate impact forces and completely protects the structural safety. Furthermore, the entirely airborne construction process helped preserve the primary tropical rainforest canopy underneath almost intact. Sky Bridge 721 currently holds the record as the longest pedestrian suspension bridge in the world. This name is not random, but accurately represents the exact length of 2,365 feet of the structure. Suspended at a height of 312 feet, with a narrow walkway of just 3.9 feet, the bridge provides a realistic sensation of walking among the clouds. Due to the limited space and to ensure absolute safety, the management mandates that visitors are only allowed to travel in a single one-way direction. Valley winds blowing through create a slight swaying motion, making this precarious experience completely unsuitable for those with a fear of heights. Additionally, the structure integrates an augmented reality game called the Bridge of Time for everyone to explore the surrounding history and natural environment. Train to the Clouds holds the record for the most challenging and highest altitude railway operation in South America. The structure stands at an elevation of about 13,845 feet above sea level, placing it among the highest railway bridges in the world. Because of this extreme altitude, trains crossing the bridge carry a car loaded with oxygen tanks together with medical staff to assist passengers affected by altitude sickness. The massive metal structure weighing 1,764 tons constantly shudders under the sweeping plateau gusts, making the heartbeat involuntarily race. Looking straight down into the 207 feet deep abyss through the empty window frame, you can distinctly feel the train carriage seemingly floating in mid-air. When the train stops here, many visitors step off for a brief ceremony, listen to the Argentine national anthem, and watch the national flag move in the open air to the Andes. Hotan-Ruokiang Railway is the rail line with the longest section crossing a continuous sandstorm zone in the world. Out of its total length of about 513 miles, more than 329 miles, or about 65%, cuts straight through the center of this sandstorm region. This area is a heat basin where the sand surface can reach about 140 degrees Fahrenheit during the day, while powerful sandstorms can erode metal and erase visibility in seconds. The railway is also surrounded by moving dunes that rise dozens of feet high and can shift direction before pushing into anything in their path. To complete a closed loop around the Taklamakan Desert, the project includes an artificial ecosystem like a green Great Wall with 50 million trees irrigated automatically by AI. Riding this smooth train across giant viaducts and through dense dust storms creates a very rare experience on Earth. Ribblehead Viaduct is not only a transport structure, but also a symbol of endurance and at times the harshness of Victorian engineering. Because it stands at high elevation and faces extremely strong wind gusts from the valley, the bridge was designed with a slight curve to adapt to those conditions. The bridge has a total of 24 arches, extends for about 1,312 feet, and rises about 105 feet above the valley floor. Each pier is driven about 26 feet down into solid rock to stabilize the entire structure. The project took nearly 5 years, from 1870 to 1874, and required about 1.5 million bricks to complete. To build it, about 2,300 workers had to live and work in temporary slum settlements, and hundreds died from labor accidents, although most deaths were caused by smallpox and dysentery.
There are bridges in the world that do not only connect two shores, but connect places that once seemed impossible to reach. Some bridges stretch across vast seas. Some bridges hang between deep canyons. Some bridges cling to mountain cliffs, where wind, height, and empty space create real pressure. Each structure is a bold answer to terrain that once seemed impossible to cross. These bridges do not only show the power of engineering, they show how humans turn deep abysses, wide seas, and stone mountains into real roads. Join us as we explore the most extraordinary bridges in the world, where engineering and human boldness challenge every limit of logic. You are looking at one of the most sought-after bridges on the planet, with the design of a giant sailing ship rising in the middle of the bay. The Sunshine Skyway Bridge is highly impressive because its main span rises nearly 60 metres above the water, enough for ocean cruise ships as tall as 15 story buildings to pass underneath. Its lemon yellow cable system makes the bridge stand out against the sky and the waters of Florida instead of blending into familiar grey or dark red tones. Even with its slender shape, the aerodynamic structure can flex naturally to withstand Category 5 hurricanes. After the tragedy in 1980, the bridge was rebuilt with round concrete islands around the main piers to block ships weighing 87,000 tonnes. The remaining sections of the old bridge are now the longest fishing pier bridge in the world, operating 24 hours a day. If France has the Eiffel Tower, Scotland has the Forth Bridge as a steel icon appearing on millions of postcards around the world. Three red diamond-shaped steel towers rise more than 100 metres above the sea, forming a gigantic structure with an overwhelming visual effect. The entire structure weighs about 50,000 tonnes and is held together by 6.5 million heated rivets hammered by hand instead of modern bolts. This steel mass was designed to be flexible enough to expand by several dozen centimetres under summer heat. The bridge is now protected by an ultra-durable coating used for offshore oil rigs, helping it resist sea corrosion for about 20 years. Although it is more than 130 years old, the Forth Bridge still carries more than 200 heavy train crossings each day. Is this a giant piece of jewellery dropped onto the water, or is it a bridge? Laguna Garzon in Uruguay is the only circular bridge in the world, where its ring-shaped design encloses part of the lagoon at the centre like a small mirror lying on the water. From above, the entire structure resembles a gigantic flying saucer placed on the lagoon, making it unusually strange and almost unbelievable for a traffic bridge. Unlike the normal logic that a bridge helps vehicles move faster, the curved layout of Laguna Garzon forces drivers to slow down for safety on the bridge deck. Wide pedestrian walkways on both sides turn the structure into a 360-degree observation platform for watching birds and fishing. This masterpiece, worth more than $10 million ended decades of waiting for local residents who once had to cross the lagoon by ferry. Ruyai Bridge has such an unreal design that millions of people once believed it was only a product of computer-generated effects. The structure stands about 140 metres above the canyon floor, equal to more than 40 stories, in a setting of strong winds and steep terrain. The bridge features 3 curving bands interwoven through 3-dimensional space, creating an astonishing giant double helix form. Its shape was inspired by the Ruyi scepter, an ancient Chinese symbol of good fortune, placed among a dramatic mountain landscape. Most of the deck is made from transparent tempered glass, allowing visitors to look directly down to the canyon floor below. After opening in 2020, the bridge quickly attracted hundreds of thousands of visitors coming to test their fear of heights. The Astoria Megla Bridge holds the record as the longest continuous steel truss bridge in North America, stretching 6.6 kilometres across the stormy mouth of the Columbia River. At first, the project was mocked as a road to nowhere, but it later became the final link that completed US Route 101 from the Mexican border to Washington state. The bridge was built over the infamous Graveyard of the Pacific, where powerful storms and fierce currents constantly threaten offshore structures. Its steel truss system is designed to withstand winds of up to 240 kilometres per hour. The bridge's steep incline has caused some drivers to panic so badly that officials had to help drive their cars across. The bridge's huge scale creates a non-stop painting cycle because when one end is finished, the other end has already begun to peel. Trift Bridge is one of the longest and highest pedestrian suspension bridges in the Alps, like a thin steel cable stretched across the ski above a deep gorge. The bridge was built after the Trift Glacier melted too quickly, forming a deep lake that cut off the old mountain route between the two sides. Because the cliffs had no road access, tons of steel cables had to be dropped by helicopter and assembled in mid-air in only 6 weeks. The bridge deck is 170 metres long, made from narrow wooden planks at a height of 100 metres, looking straight down at the blue glacial lake below. Although it uses strong load-bearing cables, its Nepal-style rope design still makes the bridge shake heavily when alpine winds sweep through. In winter, the trail and cable car are closed, so the bridge can only be reached during the warmer summer months when much of the snow has melted. Storsisonte is the most recognisable bridge on the Atlantic Road, as well as its longest, most winding and most frequently photographed section in iconic images of Norway. The bridge creates an incredible dead-end illusion, making drivers feel that the road suddenly disappears ahead and the car is about to plunge straight into the ocean. Its three-dimensional design does not follow a normal symmetrical axis, but bends with the shape of the offshore rocky islands. During construction, the crew had to stay exposed in the cold sea environment and endure 12 major storms. In storm season, many visitors still deliberately come here to watch huge ocean waves crash over the roadway and passing vehicles. This majestic and dangerous image helps Storsissundet become a car chase location in the film No Time to Die. Lomagnapur Bridge is the kind of bridge that makes you feel as if you have accidentally driven onto the surface of Mars. This small structure sits beneath the 764-metre basalt wall of Le Magnipur, creating an extremely striking visual contrast between human-made steel and a vertical mass of black rock. The bridge stands in a dangerous position because it lies directly in the path of enormous flash floods created when volcanic eruptions occur beneath a glacier. Engineers used a sacrificial design, allowing floodwater to wash away the two dirt approach roads in order to reduce pressure and protect the main steel span. Beneath the bridge, shallow glacial water flowing over black sand often reflects the landscape like a giant mirror. Although it sits on Iceland's main ring road, the bridge is only one lane wide and creates a lonely driving experience through a landscape that looks almost extraterrestrial. Have you ever seen a bridge where boats calmly move above while cars rush below the water? The Velwermeer Aqueduct in the Netherlands creates an incredible scene where the busy N302 highway seems to be cut in half and swallowed under a wide mass of water. To keep the roads stable below the surface, engineers used about 22,000 cubic metres of concrete to resist the upward force of the water. The water section crossing above the road is only about 25 metres long, so cars almost pass through the bottom of the lake in a few seconds. For first-time drivers, the strangest feeling is knowing that boats are still moving directly above their heads. This structure allows about 28,000 cars below and hundreds of boats above to move continuously each day without either side needing to stop. Have you ever imagined driving through clouds at a height equal to a 160-story tower? The Huajiang Grand Canyon Bridge in China creates a surreal scene as its main span stretches nearly 1.5 kilometres across a gigantic canyon without a single support column in the abyss below. While crossing the bridge, drifting fog moves continuously beneath the roadway, creating the feeling of piloting a spacecraft through the sky. To keep the massive steel structure stable on vertical limestone cliffs, engineers had to design the bridge against powerful winds surging upward from the canyon floor. The structure also includes a transparent glass observation deck looking directly down at the raging river far below. This megastructure transforms a dangerous 2-hour mountain journey into only about 2 minutes of driving. Tower Bridge is the most famous bascule bridge on Earth, a mechanical wonder crossing the River Thames and serving as an engineering symbol of London. Although its 2 bascules weigh more than 2,000 tonnes, the 19th century hydraulic system can raise them to an angle of 86 degrees in about 5 minutes. The structure creates a striking visual illusion with its old Gothic stone exterior, while inside it hides a modern frame made from 11,000 tonnes of steel. Tower Bridge once witnessed a double-decker bus full of passengers jump across the open gap while the bridge was rising. On the River Thames, even the convoy of the United States President must stop if the bridge is raised for passing vessels. At a height of 42 metres, the glass walkway lets visitors look straight down at the massive steel sections splitting apart beneath their feet, creating a breathtaking experience directly above the River Thames. Zhangjiajie Glass Bridge hangs 300 metres above the Avatar Mountains and was once considered one of the world's highest and longest glass-bottom pedestrian bridges. Its deck is made from 99 transparent tempered glass panels, exposing the deep abyss below and turning every step into a nerve-shaking challenge. Although it looks like a thin strip of glass stretched across the sky, the structure can support about 800 people at the same time with almost no shaking. To prove its strength, the glass was repeatedly struck with sledgehammers and crossed by an SUV without shattering. The bridge also has a bungee platform suspended among the clouds with one of the deepest drops in the world. Due to its overwhelming attraction, only 13 days after opening, the bridge had to close because visitor numbers were 10 times higher than its capacity. Da Nang Dragon Bridge is the largest dragon-shaped steel bridge in the world, a unique architectural symbol spanning the Han River. The entire bridge body is a massive steel structure weighing about 9,000 tonnes, highlighted by a dragon head of nearly 200 tonnes rising above the air. At night, the nearly 700-metre dragon changes colour continuously through a system of 2,500 smart LED lights. Its high-pressure pneumatic mechanism allows the dragon's mouth to breathe bright fire and spray water dozens of metres away. At 2100 hours on weekends, the 6-lane traffic route is temporarily closed, so the bridge becomes a performance stage for tens of thousands of spectators. The project also won the Grand Award in the United States, a prize often regarded as the Oscar of the world engineering industry. Banger Band Who once held the record as the longest bridge in South Asia and became a major structure linking the two halves of Bangladesh after centuries of separation by the Jamuna River. To control the enormous flow, engineers narrowed the river surface from 11 kilometres to 4.8 kilometres, allowing the current to pass the bridge more safely. The bridge foundation uses steel piers buried 80 metres deep in the mud to remain stable during major flood season. The bridge body also works as an underground infrastructure corridor, carrying a gas pipeline, a 230 kilovolt power grid, and the national fibre optic cable system. Its smart bearing system allows the bridge to flex and spread force during earthquakes. By 2026, the railway tracks on the bridge were removed to widen the roadway and increase traffic capacity. Known as the greatest mega project in Danish history, the Great Belt Bridge holds the record for the longest suspension bridge span in Europe and has 2 towers, rising as the highest points in the entire country. The structure is astonishing because of its separated transport system, where cars travel on a bridge suspended between sea and sky while trains pass through a tunnel deep beneath the ocean floor. To create a stable support in the Baltic Sea, engineers poured millions of tons of rock and soil to expand Sprogo Island to 4 times its original area. The main suspension span stretches about 1.6 kilometres, long enough to place 15 football fields in a row through the air. The cable system is fixed by enormous concrete anchor blocks with the size of a multi-storey building. This billion-dollar bridge turned ferry journeys that once took hours into a sea crossing of only about 10 minutes. The Crimean Bridge is the longest bridge in Europe, stretching 19 kilometres and linking mainland Russia with the Crimean Peninsula across a strait with extremely complex geological conditions. Beneath the water lies a soft, muddy seabed with underground mud volcanoes, so more than 7,000 massive piles had to be driven over 100 metres deep to anchor the structure into solid ground. On top of this foundation, engineers installed large damping systems that allow the bridge to move flexibly and withstand earthquakes up to magnitude 9 on the Richter scale. Two arches weighing about 6,000 tonnes were assembled on land, then carried out to sea by floating pontoons and lifted into place with hydraulic jacks. The amount of steel used for the project was enough to form 32 Eiffel Towers. During winter, the icebreaker-shaped bridge piers have to resist thousands of tonnes of drifting ice crashing into the structure. Seven Mile Bridge is one of the world's longest sea bridges, carrying an 11-kilometre highway completely above the ocean. The structure creates a rare spectacle where two bridges run side by side for many kilometres, including the old railway bridge from 1912 and the modern highway bridge completed in 1982. Throughout the journey, there is no land visible on either side, making the road appear suspended between the calm Gulf of Mexico and the rough Atlantic Ocean. In the middle of the endless, flat bridge, one giant section suddenly rises nearly 20 metres high to let large ships pass underneath. Hidden inside the bridge is a massive freshwater pipeline that supplies water to the entire island community of Key West. Every April, the 7 Mile Bridge closes completely for 2.5 hours, turning the roadway above the ocean into a rare marathon route over Florida's waters. Pont du Gard is the skyscraper of the ancient Roman world and the tallest aqueduct bridge the empire ever created. The structure is about 275 metres long and was assembled from limestone blocks weighing up to 6 tonnes with precision that still amazes modern architects. Though it rises as high as a 16-storey building, the Romans completed it in about 5 years using human labour and primitive pulley systems. At its peak, the bridge worked like a gravity-powered machine, carrying about 40,000 cubic metres of water each day across the valley to supply Nimes. In 2002, floods destroyed several nearby modern concrete bridges, but Pont du Gard remained completely intact. Its three-level arch design later inspired the bridge image printed on the back of the €5 banknote. Defy Tara Bridge is a great concrete ribbon crossing the Tara River Canyon, once holding the record as Europe's largest concrete arch bridge when it was completed in 1940. The structure hangs 172 metres above the deepest canyon in Europe and the second deepest canyon in the world. To cast the main arch span of 116 metres without modern cranes, workers had to build a gigantic oak scaffold by hand from the bottom of the gorge. In 1942, its own designer, Lazar Yalkovich, destroyed part of his masterpiece to stop fascist forces. The explosion cut only one small span, while the main body of the bridge remained standing. By 1946, the damaged span had been restored, and the bridge has continued, linking the two canyon walls to this day. Eshima Ohashi is the largest rigid frame bridge in Japan and the third largest in the world, but it became globally famous for looking like a roller coaster slope. When photographed from far away with a telephoto lens, the bridge surface is visually compressed into a near vertical road, making cars appear to climb against gravity. This slope is not decorative, but comes from the technical need for the bridge to rise about 44.7 metres above Lake Nakami. That clearance allows cargo ships weighing up to 5,000 tonnes to pass underneath without requiring a drawbridge system. In Japan, this uphill section is called Berabumizaka, meaning a slope where drivers must press the accelerator all the way down. After a car commercial, Eshima Ohashi changed from an everyday transport route into a famous photo spot for travellers and photographers. The Golden Bridge is an architectural masterpiece of Vietnam and was listed among Time magazine's top 100 world's greatest places soon after it opened. The giant moss-covered hands supporting the bridge are actually a visual illusion, shaped from steel frames and fiberglass instead of ancient natural stone. Unlike most bridges in the world, this structure does not cross a river or the sea, but stretches across a mountain slope like a golden walkway in the air. At an altitude of about 1,400 metres, visitors can walk among white clouds, drifting close to the railings. Its titanium-plated paint helps the 150-metre bridge keep its golden glow through the thick mist of the surrounding primeval forest. The global appeal of the Golden Bridge became so strong that many tourist sites in China and the Philippines later studied and recreated similar designs. Welcome to the only rotating boat lift in the world, where boats do not sail across the water, but have to take an elevator through the air. The Falkirk Wheel in Scotland creates an incredible scene as long boats are lifted about 24 metres high, equal to an 8-storey building. The futuristic steel frame of the structure was inspired by the chief engineer playing with his son's Lego pieces. Although it lifts thousands of tons of water and boats in each operation, the system uses only the amount of electricity equal to about 8 electric kettles. This mechanism works through water displacement, keeping the two arms balanced, even when one side carries a large boat and the other side is empty. In the past, boats needed almost an entire day to cross this elevation difference through 11 separate canal locks. But the Falkirk Wheel now completes the journey in only a few minutes. Pont Saint-Silty Aqueduct is the highest and longest canal aqueduct in the United Kingdom. A river in the sky suspended 40 metres above the Dee River Valley. One side of the narrow water channel has no high protective railing, so boats passing through it seem to slide along the edge of open air. "18 stone arches support the entire canal, while sunlight passes through the openings and forms clear bands of light and shadow across the water surface. To bind the large sandstone blocks together, 19th century builders used a special mortar mixed from lime, water, sugar, and ox blood. In the middle of the aqueduct, a rare drain plug is opened about once every 5 years to release the water into the Dee River during maintenance. Since 1805, the bridge has endured the storms of Wales and still carries thousands of tourist boats every year. Sutt Canal Bridge is one of the heaviest concrete water bridges in the world, where an enormous river weighing about 65,000 tonnes hangs suspended above the Belgian landscape. The bridge deck is actually a massive water highway wide enough for two giant cargo barges carrying thousands of tonnes to pass each other comfortably above the valley. The water surface remains incredibly smooth like a mirror, reflecting the sky and the long stretches of green vegetation surrounding the structure. What makes this bridge even more unbelievable is that it was built above extremely dangerous ground, filled with underground cavities left behind by old coal mines. Engineers had to install a unique system of deep foundation piles to stabilise the gigantic concrete structure and prevent the ground beneath from collapsing. While driving below the bridge, many people are still stunned when they see the shadow of a gigantic cargo ship moving directly above their cars. Rakotsbrücke is known as the Devil's Bridge, with one of the most spectacular optical illusions in Europe, where the stone arch and the water reflection merge into an almost perfect circle. The strangeness of the bridge comes from a reflection so precise that visitors can see a closed stone ring from many different angles inside the forest. Its eerie name is linked to a legend in which the master builder made a pact with the devil for the secret of a perfect arch, then tricked him by sending a dog across first. Although the bridge was built from thousands of heavy basalt stones, its two supports are unusually thin, making the entire structure look as if it is floating above the water. Rakotsbrücke does not allow people to walk on it because it exists as an artwork rather than a passageway. When autumn covers the forest with colour, the dark grey stone ring reflects on the lake like a floating ring of fire among the trees. Western High-Speed Diameter Bridge is the world's longest urban sea overpass system, connecting the islands of St. Petersburg through a massive structure across the Gulf. Its most impressive feature is the cable-stayed towers, which do not stand straight, but lean and cross each other like futuristic steel frames planted into the Baltic Sea. The structure was built on very weak marshland, So tens of thousands of tons of reinforced concrete had to be fixed in place through extremely complex engineering. In winter, when the sea surface turns white with ice, cars can travel across the bridge at about 110 kilometres per hour above a vast frozen zone. The clearance below the bridge is high enough for giant cargo ships to pass underneath, while cars continue moving above. Near the heritage area, one highway section is lowered into a moat so vehicles almost disappear from the horizon. Saltstraumen Bridge is the only bridge in the world crossing the planet's most violent tidal current, where hundreds of millions of cubic metres of seawater twist directly beneath the structure. Every 6 hours, about 400 million cubic metres of water are forced through the narrow channel below, turning the strait into a gigantic water machine, spinning violently. Local residents only need to see the water change direction to know that a new tidal cycle has begun. From the bridge, whirlpools up to 10 metres wide and about 5 metres deep keep opening across the surface, pulling anything caught in the current downward. Standing on the 41-metre high bridge, you will still get goosebumps when you hear the deep roar of water crashing violently beneath your feet. That same twisting force carries huge amounts of nutrients, making Saltstraumen a famous cod fishing spot with fish weighing up to 22.7 kilograms. Villarreal is one of the highest bridges in Europe, suspended at a height equal to a 70-storey building and making your car feel like it is flying through the sky. The structure stretches nearly 3 kilometres, connecting two mountain peaks with a gigantic concrete ribbon across the valley of northern Portugal. On foggy days, the roadway turns into a floating highway above a sea of clouds, creating a scene that feels like science fiction. Its massive concrete pillars sink deep into the valley floor and resemble the legs of a giant supporting the entire bridge. Despite its enormous scale, the structure was designed to flex slightly and absorb the destructive force of strong mountain winds. The arrival of Villarreal also replaced the old IP4 route, once considered one of the most dangerous roads in Europe. The Padma Bridge is considered Bangladesh's great river engineering achievement, with the deepest steel pile foundation ever used for a bridge. The structure crosses the Padma River, where powerful currents and enormous water flow create a constantly shifting riverbed. To keep the bridge stable on sinking sand, engineers drove steel piles as deep as 127 metres beneath the river, equal to a 40-storey building. After international banks refused support, Bangladesh raised nearly $4 billion United States dollars on its own to complete the project. The bridge uses a double-deck design with 4 vehicle lanes above and a heavy railway line below. The Padma Bridge replaced dangerous ferry journeys that once took hours and shortened the river crossing to about 10 minutes. Levant Viaduct is considered one of the most impressive viaducts in Europe and the second highest bridge in Austria, stretching more than 1 kilometre across an alpine valley. At a height of 165 metres, equivalent to a 50-storey building, driving through here feels like you're suspended in mid-air. For 21 years, the first bridge section carried the entire flow of traffic between Austria and Italy on its own. To withstand the harsh conditions of the Alps, the bridge uses expansion joints that allow the deck to move up to 600 millimetres. Its reinforced concrete spans reach up to 160 metres, showing the enormous engineering scale of the structure. The bridge became an important link that helps shorten travel from Central Europe to Southern Europe. Do you believe in a 2-level bridge that can breathe and heal its own damage? The double-decker Living Root Bridge in India was not built with steel or concrete, but by guiding the roots of giant banyan trees across a stream through hollow areca trunks over 15 to 20 years. The roots continue growing every day, tightening around each other and anchoring deeper into the ground, making the bridge stronger as it ages. These massive twisted roots work like a biological suspension system, strong enough to support more than 50 adults at the same time with almost no movement. The second level was gradually grown higher by local villagers so people could still cross safely when monsoon floods completely swallow the lower bridge. Unlike ordinary man-made bridges, this living structure can survive for more than 500 years while continuing to grow naturally over time.
At this bend, you have to decide before you know if the road continues or not. There are roads that cling to cliff faces where the surface is very narrow, just wide enough for a single vehicle, with a drop of hundreds of feet below. In other places, ice and snow cover the road, reducing traction and making it easy for a vehicle to slide and difficult to stop in time. Meanwhile, in deserts and high mountain regions, extreme temperatures and thin air reduce vehicle performance and slow the driver's reaction in critical moments. On these roads, decisions have to be made very quickly, with almost no chance to correct a mistake once it happens. These are some of the most dangerous roads in the world, where even a small error can lead to consequences you cannot control. BR 319 was built by Brazil's military government with the ambition of cutting through the Amazon and turning an approximately 540-mile route into an economic lifeline for the region. But tropical destruction and weak maintenance caused the highway to deteriorate badly soon after it was completed in the 1970s. The central section, known as Mayao, stretches for about 250 miles and remains an unpaved dirt road that turns into a river of mud several feet deep during the Amazon rainy season, which can last up to 6 months. The ruts carved by heavy trucks can swallow the entire lower half of a car. On both sides, dense Amazon rainforest presses directly against the road, and because the route crosses hundreds of small rivers and streams, flood season can turn the roadway itself into fast-moving channels. If a vehicle gets stranded here, travelers face oppressive heat, near total humidity, malaria and dengue carrying mosquitoes, and the risk of encountering wild animals. There is a road that exists only when winter freezes the entire region of Yakutia, and that road is the Oymyakon Winter Road. When temperatures drop below -40 degrees Celsius, rivers, swamps, and permafrost solidify, allowing the route to emerge across the frozen surface. By summer, this entire transport system melts away and disappears back into unstable mud and marshland. About 70% of the route runs across the surfaces of massive rivers such as the Indigirka, where the ice can reach nearly 6.5 feet thick. Even so, heavy trucks have suddenly broken through thin ice while moving and vanished into the black freezing water below. This ice road connects directly to the infamous Kolyma Highway, forming a transport network across one of the coldest inhabited regions on Earth. Black Bear Pass is a notorious dirt road in the San Juan Mountains, cutting across high peaks before dropping steeply into a deep valley. Some roads are frightening because they are narrow, but this one is more dangerous because it is narrow, steep, and offers no chance to turn around. Unlike paved highways, this is an old mining road, covered in large rocks, and is only suitable for high-clearance four-wheel drive vehicles and highly experienced drivers. Along the edge, deep cracks are hidden under loose debris, creating a false surface that can collapse at any moment. The entire mountainside is layered with broken shale, acting like a sliding surface that can pull anything above it down into the abyss. When accidents occur, vehicles do not simply stop, but often roll multiple times and are completely destroyed upon impact with the rock layers below. If you think your driving skill is elite, try releasing the clutch on a slope of mud mixed with snow and ice, with a deep drop on one side while the engine struggles for air. Kardung La is known as one of the highest motorable roads in the world and serves as a strategic connection in the Ladakh region. At nearly 17,700 feet, it is one of the few passes where heavy military trucks can still operate. Official army signs at the summit display an elevation of about 18,380 feet, with the narrow dirt road runs along steep drop-offs, creating intense traffic pressure as multiple vehicles attempt to pass through limited space. At the top, the landscape becomes almost completely barren, with vegetation nearly absent due to the harsh environment. Despite the danger, its global reputation draws tens of thousands of vehicles each summer, creating traffic congestion where vehicles inch forward along the edge of deep cliffs. Would you believe there is a road that, from above, looks like a giant zipper stitched straight down a mountainside? Sugaru Iwaki Skyline is a mountain road with 69 hairpin turns stacked continuously along the slope of Mount Iwaki, a volcano with an almost perfectly balanced cone shape. The route is carved directly into the mountainside, following a steep gradient and changing direction again and again as it climbs higher. Dense old beech forests line both sides of the road, forming a continuous vegetation corridor across the slope. In October, the area enters peak foliage season, and the entire mountainside shifts into long bands of bright red and yellow wrapped around the turns.
So that's one done. That was fun.
In its video marking 30 years of drift culture, Red Bull called Sugaru Iwaki Skyline the final boss, because its structure of 69 consecutive corners turns it into one of the most demanding technical driving courses in the world. Shimshal Valley Road is a lifeline, stretching for about 35 miles, clinging to mountain walls to connect more than 2,000 isolated people with the rest of Pakistan. The route follows the deep gorge of the Shimshal River and remains completely unpaved, consisting only of dirt and rock attached to steep mountain slopes. The road was opened by the villagers of Shimshal themselves through 18 years of manual labor to create access to the Karakoram Highway. The outer edge constantly erodes and can give way whenever the surface shakes under passing wheels. From the unguarded sections, the terrain drops hundreds of feet into the muddy Shimshal River, which is fed by glacial melt and rushes between grey, barren cliff walls. Entering this road also means being cut off from the entire communication network, with no phone signal, no rescue service, and only complete isolation in the middle of the massive Karakoram Range. Located within Zhangjiajie National Forest Park, Tianmen Mountain Winding Road compresses exactly 99 hairpin turns into a distance of nearly 11 kilometers. On average, every 100 meters of straight road forces drivers to rotate the steering wheel close to 180 degrees to follow the mountain's tight curvature. The route begins at about 650 feet above sea level and climbs to over 4,200 feet, creating steep gradients along sheer limestone cliffs. From above, the road forms layered zigzag patterns stacked across the mountainside, while guardrails and barriers remain low and positioned directly at the edge. The road was built to reach Tianmen Cave, and the entire route bans private vehicles operating only with specialized shuttle buses from the scenic area. At the final stop, visitors must leave the vehicle and climb an additional 999 steep stone steps before entering the cave itself. Lawari Pass is so brutal that local drivers call it the Gate of Hell, a symbol of one of the most dangerous trade routes in South Asia. On a steep mountainside, the pass stacks dozens of hairpin turns into sharp, Z-shaped bends, forcing every turn to happen beside open, free-fall space. In winter, snow can accumulate to nearly 33 feet, shutting the pass for more than half the year and sending vehicles into the gorge below. The surrounding slate cliffs break apart easily, so landslides constantly threaten the loose outer edge, where every attempt to give way becomes a direct gamble with death. Lowari is also frequently swallowed by sudden fog, so dense that visibility can collapse to only a few feet. To reduce this dangerous isolation and maintain access to Chitral Valley, authorities built the Lowari Tunnel as a safer alternative route through the mountain mass. Jebel Hafit is a perfectly paved dead end worth millions of dollars, slicing through the 122-degree Fahrenheit furnace of the Arabian desert with 60 punishing turns. The road climbs directly to the summit, where the Mercure Grand Jebel Hafit stands at about 3,000 feet, like a resort fortress suspended above the desert. Radiant heat reflecting off the limestone walls and back onto the black asphalt can create an extreme thermal environment that puts enormous stress on tires and traction. With road quality often compared to an F1 circuit, this entire stretch of less than 7.5 miles crosses steep limestone slopes while maintaining a constant gradient that turns the drive into a serious vehicle control test. A few hours deeper into the desert lies Morib Dune, where the surface is made entirely of loose sand, and a slope rising about 980 feet pushes vehicles into a completely different kind of extreme terrain. At night, the whole mountainside glows with yellow lights tracing the turns, making the road appear like a suspended ribbon of light across the desert rock. Some mountain passes terrify drivers at first sight, but Babasar Pass is more dangerous because it makes people relax before releasing their vehicle onto a descent that is absurdly long. At nearly 13,800 feet above sea level, this pass is paved, smooth, and relatively wide, creating a false sense of safety in an extreme high-altitude environment. That easy surface encourages many vehicles to pick up speed, even though the descent from Babasar Top to Chilas is so long and steep that it can wear down an entire braking system. When drivers are forced to ride the brakes for too long on the downhill stretch, brake fluid can overheat, boil, and cause total brake failure. In winter, Babusar Pass is buried under massive snowfall, yet even in July, near the height of summer, the summit area can still be lined with snow walls several feet thick. Despite heavy traffic and multiple hairpin turns pressed against deep drop-offs, many sections of this pass still have no steel or concrete barriers at all. South Yungas Road is a route about 40 miles long across the Andes, built by Paraguayan prisoners in the 1930s during the Chaco War. Although it is less famous than North Yungas Road, it still hangs between a vertical cliff on one side and drop-offs that can plunge nearly 2,000 feet on the other. The entire surface is made of rough dirt, rock and gravel with no pavement, winding through more than 50 bends pressed against the edge. The journey is also repeatedly cut by dangerous streams and natural waterfalls that pour directly from the cliff onto the roadbed. Along the route, crosses, wreaths, and small stone memorials mark the exact points where vehicles and lives have gone over the edge. Even with landslides, deep mud, and open freefall beside the wheels, local truck and bus drivers still have to cross this road every day. Valley of Fire Road is the main route cutting through the oldest and most iconic state park in Nevada, where a dry desert landscape hides one of its most unexpected dangers: water. Even when storms strike dozens of miles away, they can still generate sudden flash floods that rush straight across the road in terrain that appears completely dry. In the heat of July afternoons, desert surface temperatures can soften the asphalt enough for drivers to feel the tires sticking to the road. On both sides stand massive red sandstone formations that have been carved by wind and water for about 150 million years, leaving surfaces filled with holes and erosion pockets. Along the route, the Seven Sisters rise as 7 isolated red sandstone pillars standing in open sand with no direct connection to the mountain ranges round them. In this extreme heat, desert bighorn sheep still move across the cliffs because their specialized hooves allow them to climb and balance on steep sandstone walls. Garter Loops is the most feared and iconic section of the Manali Leh Highway, where the chain of high passes in Ladakh truly begins. This route ends at more than 15,000 feet above sea level, higher than the summits of many major mountains in Europe, and it lies inside a cold desert with no trees and almost no vegetation. The landscape is reduced to brown-gray and pale yellow sandstone walls, while one hairpin turn after another, forces vehicles to keep climbing through narrow and exposed terrain. The best-known legend tells of a truck helper who was left behind in winter after a vehicle broke down and later died from hunger, cold, and thirst before rescue arrived. Since then, at turn number 19, many drivers and riders leave bottles of water and cigarettes as an offering to calm the spirit believed to still wander there. Garter Loops is also part of one of the only 2 overland supply corridors supporting the Indian military in Ladakh, so large military convoys still inch through these bends every day. Unlike rough dirt roads or unguarded cliff routes, Coquihalla is a modern engineering work, built at a cost of billions of dollars to serve as the economic lifeline, linking Western Canada with the rest of the continent. This multi-lane commercial highway stretches for about 201 miles through the Cascade Mountains, connecting the town of Hope with the city of Kamloops. Every winter, Coquihalla Pass receives more than 33 feet of snow on average, forcing a full-scale snow removal fleet to work around the clock to keep the road from disappearing. Snowstorms can arrive within minutes and create complete whiteout conditions that erase all visibility. When the surface is covered by a thin layer of ice that is almost impossible to see, 18-wheel tractor trailers weighing tens of tons can slide backward or tip sideways across the highway. In 2021, extreme rainfall turned nearby rivers, violent enough to tear apart and wash away multiple highway sections in a single night, completely severing this critical Western Canadian transport corridor. Million Dollar Highway carries its grand name, but no one is certain whether it comes from construction costs, gold beneath the roadbed, or the scenery spread across the San Juan Mountains. The route runs for about 25 miles along US Route 550, linking 2 historic mining towns and crossing the Red Mountain area, where slopes glow deep red from iron oxide and massive sulfide deposits staining the rock and soil. Along the road, high-elevation pine forests and sparse vegetation cling to steep slopes, alternating with exposed sections where almost no plant life can survive. Million Dollar Highway also cuts through the heart of Avalanche Alley, where more than 100 natural avalanche paths have been mapped along the corridor. Its hairpin turns are so tight that trucks longer than 40 feet face serious difficulty maneuvering between towering rock walls and steep drop-offs. Even with extreme winter ice and constant avalanche danger, the highway remains open year-round instead of being fully closed during the cold season. Running along the Andes mountainside, Abra de Acay is one of the highest motorable roads in the world outside Asia, and also the highest point on Argentina's legendary Route 40. At the summit, the official sign marks the elevation at 4,895 meters, but modern GPS readings and topographic measurements place the true height above 16,400 feet. The road follows the flank of Nevado del Acay, where cliff walls display layers of rust red, ochre yellow, and lead gray across a landscape with almost no trees. In that environment, only rock-hard Eureta shrubs and small mosses clinging to stone fractures are able to survive. Although it is part of a national highway, the route can still be closed for weeks during winter or even after powerful summer storms. Most of this pass was opened in the 1960s with minimal machine support, and much of the dangerous route was carved out by human labor under severe oxygen deprivation. When people think of Brazil, they imagine warmth and beaches, but Serra do Rio do Rastro is a strange parallel reality, an icy winter inside a tropical country. In the cold season, frost and even snowfall can appear here, turning the steep road surface into something as slick as an ice rink in the mountains. Its steep terrain blocks moist air coming in from the sea and creates the Geração effect, where dense fog can surge up from the valley floor and swallow the entire road within minutes. The zigzag structure of the road did not begin with modern engineering plans, but with ancient trails formed centuries ago by indigenous people and mule caravans. The route runs along the Serra Geral range, where a natural rock wall rising nearly 3,300 feet and stretching for hundreds of miles forms the edge of southern Brazil's plateau. Unlike many mountain passes that disappear into darkness, this entire route is lit at night by hundreds of high-power lamps running along the curves. Moki Dugway is a rough engineering work built by Texas Zinc Minerals in 1958 to transport uranium ore from the Happy Jack mine to a processing plant. The road was carved directly into the Cedar Mesa cliff, forming a chain of switchbacks to climb more than 1,180 feet over a distance of only about 3 miles on loose dirt and gravel. What makes it even stranger is that this section cuts straight through Utah State Route 261, which is fully paved at both ends, making the entire grade feel detached from the highway around it. Seen from the valley floor, the road is almost invisible because its surface blends completely into the rust-red, burnt orange, and reddish-brown sandstone wall of Cedar Mesa. Even though many sections are only slightly wider than a single lane, the road still carries two-way traffic across open desert terrain. The greatest danger today does not come from the elevation, but from sudden storms that can turn dry gravel into slick clay mud in a very short time. Sakalobra is one of the most scenic roads in Europe and is also considered one of Spain's great engineering works of the 20th century. The entire road was built by hand, with more than 1 million cubic feet of rock carved out and moved by human labor along the steep slopes of the Serra de Tramuntana. Because the mountainside was too steep for normal turns, engineers created a spiral bridge that passes beneath itself to keep descending in a controlled way. From above, the road looks like a wrinkled grey ribbon, clinging tightly to the limestone slope. At the end of the route, the landscape opens into a large gorge, where water cuts between two vertical rock walls about 650 feet high before reaching the Mediterranean Sea. Because the road is a dead end, every vehicle that reaches the bottom must turn around and climb the entire pass again to get back out. Kinnaur Cliff Road is one of the most dangerous roads in India and the only vital link connecting remote valleys like Kinnaur and Spiti to the outside world. Many sections are carved directly into vertical rock walls, where massive unreinforced stone overhangs project outward like a ceiling, weighing thousands of tons above the vehicles below. On the outer edge, the road drops straight into a gorge hundreds of feet deep above the sediment-heavy Sutlej River, whose fast, muddy flow cuts through the narrow valley below. Loose rock and natural stone blocks regularly break away and fall onto the roadway, making rockfall a constant hazard along the route. At the most dangerous bends, where the vertical drop is extreme, traffic barriers are removed completely. When buses or military trucks meet inside the carved cliff section, one vehicle is forced to reverse inches from the edge to let the other pass. Paso de Jama is one of the highest and most important border crossings in the Andes, and it also serves as a major trade corridor linking the Atlantic and Pacific in South America. Sitting at about 14,040 feet above sea level, the pass is fully paved and relatively smooth, unlike many rough mountain roads in the region. But because it lies on the edge of the Atacama Desert, the climate here is highly unpredictable, with extreme temperature differences between day and night. The greatest danger comes from whiteout snowstorms, which can arrive suddenly with strong winds and erase all visibility in a very short time. The route also contains sections that create strong terrain illusions, appearing flat or even downhill, while the vehicle is actually still climbing. If your vehicle breaks down on this road, you can be stranded for hours in extreme altitude, desert cold, and a landscape with almost no natural shelter. Transalpina is the highest paved road in Romania. But before its modern upgrade, it was such a dangerous dirt and rock route that locals called it the Devil's Path. That name came from the time when shepherds and nomads had to risk their lives crossing the mountains, and the road was known for swallowing both people and livestock in brutal terrain. Unlike many passes that only touch the summit briefly before descending, Transalpina has a section nearly 12 miles long that runs along the mountainside at an elevation of about 6,600 feet. The route cuts through one of Europe's wildest ecosystems, where drivers sometimes have to slam on the brakes in the middle of a turn because a large bear is standing directly on the pavement. The danger is so serious that Romanian authorities only allow traffic from 8 in the morning to 8 at night, because driving here after dark is considered almost suicidal. Even if your vehicle breaks down or you need rescue on the highest sections, phone signal on Transalpina is almost completely non-existent. Tichka is the highest and most dangerous paved road in North Africa, cutting across the High Atlas to connect Marrakesh with Ouarzazate, the gateway to the Sahara Desert. The pass reaches about 7,400 feet in elevation and was built by the French military in the 1930s for strategic and trade purposes. The route consists of hundreds of tight hairpin turns carved into steep mountain slopes, forming a continuous sequence of directional changes at high altitude. Despite being in a region known for heat, sudden snowstorms can appear and turn the asphalt surface into ice, shutting down the road quickly. Much of the route was opened using explosives to carve through rock and create control corridors over areas where Berber resistance groups once operated. Before the 20th century, this area was part of a trans-Saharan route where camel caravans spent weeks transporting gold, salt, and slaves across harsh mountain terrain. Col de la Bonnette is a harsh boundary for both road engineering and human endurance, where many of Europe's normal construction standards nearly stop applying. At more than 8,800 feet above sea level, the air holds only about 70% of the oxygen available at sea level, forcing both people and engines to operate under reduced performance. On the climb, you pass an abandoned military camp from World War II, where dozens of grey stone barracks stand exposed on the windy mountainside. Deep beneath the loose rock lies a network of bunkers and secret artillery tunnels carved into the mountain core by the French military to defend against Mussolini's Italy. The upper landscape turns into a vast field of grey, black and rust-brown scree, making the drive feel more like a surface from a dry planet than from Earth. Massive snowfall also turns this road into a deadly strip of ice and forces it to close completely for about 7 months each year. You are looking at a road where one side is a jagged rock wall rising hundreds of feet high, while the other drops straight into a deep abyss above the violent waters of the Atlantic Ocean. This is Chapman's Peak Drive, where engineers cut the roadway deep into the mountainside while leaving a massive rock roof suspended above it to guard against falling stone. Driving through this section feels like moving inside a split-open cave with rough sandstone hanging directly over the roof of the vehicle. The route links the busy harbor of Hout Bay with a remote white sand shoreline, while exposing the full contrast between sun-shifting cliff faces and the dark blue surface of the ocean. The landscape reaches its most intense moment at sunset, when the mountainside and the sea change color across one continuous view. It is also regarded as one of South Africa's most impressive mountain roadworks, where 20th century engineering has been reinforced by 21st century safety upgrades. Splugen Pass dates back to ancient Roman times and is pressed against a steep mountainside with 51 hairpin turns stacked tightly above one another. The old route across the pass runs along the Cardinello Gorge, a dark, narrow geological fissure where the path is carved directly into the rock, while a fast river moves below. To resist avalanche force, the Italian side still preserves stone galleries built by hand in the 19th century, attached to the cliff like protective vaults over the road. At the summit, about 6,940 feet above sea level, stands the border crossing between Italy and Switzerland, where the checkpoint buildings often appear cold and deserted. In winter, when the pass is closed, this area can be buried under snow several meters deep and remain completely isolated for months. Because the bends are too sharp and the stone galleries are too narrow, Splugen Pass completely bans heavy trucks, long buses, and vehicles towing trailers. Furka Pass is a geometric masterpiece of twisting pavement, where the road folds again and again from one mountainside to the other like a grey ribbon suspended high in the sky. The pass stands at about 7,970 feet above sea level, making it one of the highest paved mountain passes in Europe. In winter, snow at Furka Pass can build to more than 33 feet and bury traffic signs completely, erasing the route from operation for months. At one of the sharpest bends stands Hotel Belvedere, a classic mountain hotel attached directly to the slope and one of the most recognizable landmarks on the pass. Right beside the hotel is a glacial melt lake in front of the Rhone Glacier, showing a cloudy blue color from fine rock flour suspended in the water. From this area, the first water of the Rhone River begins to emerge from the ice and starts the river's long course through Switzerland and France before reaching the Mediterranean Sea. Grimsel Pass is a place where human industrial engineering reaches its limit, with massive dams and power plants placed deep inside a harsh geological environment. The entire landscape was shaped by Ice Age glaciers, exposing huge, smooth granite masses along the mountainside. The pass road winds through deep gorges where geological fractures reveal rock layers bent under the immense pressure of alpine formation. The large dams here create artificial lakes with a gray-blue color caused by fine rock flour carried by glacial meltwater. Grimsel is open only in summer, while from October to May, heavy snow and avalanche danger can erase the pass completely from traffic. At the summit sits a lake tied to a legend that in 1799, during the Napoleonic Wars, the bodies of hundreds of fallen soldiers were thrown into its waters. The Dark Hedges was just a rural road in Northern Ireland until a few seconds on screen, as the King's Road in Game of Thrones turned it into a global phenomenon. The avenue stands along Brega Road between the villages of Armoy and Strenocum in County Antrim, and the Stuart family planted it in 1775 to create an entrance for Grace Hill House. After more than 250 years, many of the trunks have exceeded their natural lifespan and are now hollowing out from the inside while still remaining standing. Since 2017, authorities have banned cars and tour buses from entering because traffic vibrations are considered too dangerous for the weakening trees. In the strong winds and storms common in Ireland, decayed hollow branches can break and fall onto the road without any warning. Strada Statale 163 is recognized as a World Heritage Site by UNESCO for its coastal landscape and is a classic infrastructure route in southern Italy. The road follows the natural curves of the Amalfi Coast, with many sections where the edge looks straight down to the Tyrrhenian Sea below. From above, the route appears as a continuous ribbon of asphalt, winding along steep limestone cliffs. Passing through Positano and Amalfi, clusters of pastel-colored houses are stacked directly onto steep rock faces instead of flat ground. The road also crosses Fiordo di Furore, a geological fissure forming a narrow inlet where a stone arch bridge spans the gap at about 100 feet above the water. Strict preservation laws limit major construction and modification, allowing the area to retain its mid-20th century architectural and landscape structure.